A royal physician in ancient Syracuse stands in the central square, condemned to exile by the very citizens he spent 20 years curing. He did not poison the drinking wells. He did not steal from the treasury. He committed a crime far more dangerous, one that destroyed families, ruined alliances, and shattered the peace of the royal court. He told the unfiltered truth to every person he met, at every possible moment, without a single shred of restraint. When the dying king asked if his condition was hopeless, the physician laid out the brutal, terrifying diagnosis without hesitation. The king fell into a state of panic, lost his will to fight, and surrendered his life within 3 days, plunging the kingdom into a bloody civil war. As the guards escorted the physician toward the ships, an old philosopher standing by the harbor looked at him and said, "You believed you were serving virtue, but you were merely wielding truth like an undisciplined blade." Why do human beings cling to the dangerous myth that absolute, unfiltered honesty is always a moral virtue? What is the hidden psychological cost of speaking every thought that crosses your mind, even when your intentions are pure? And how did the ancient Stoic masters learn to distinguish between noble truth and destructive, reckless speech before it cost them their reputations, their relationships, and their lives? Most people are raised on a simplistic moral rule: always say exactly what you think, never hide your opinions, and wear your complete honesty like a badge of honor. You believe that if you are brutally honest with people, they will appreciate your authenticity. You tell yourself that when you point out someone's flaws, criticize their decisions, or tell them hard realities they didn't ask to hear, you are simply being a loyal friend, a devoted partner, or a man of his mind. In reality, unchecked honesty without timing, empathy, and wisdom is not virtue. It is often nothing more than disguised cruelty, emotional recklessness, and unchecked ego. When you speak the raw truth without understanding human psychology, you do not enlighten people. You trigger their biological defense mechanisms. You wound their dignity, force them into a corner of humiliation, and turn potential allies into bitter, lifelong enemies. You end up alienating the very people you were trying to help, wondering why the world treats you with cold resentment when all you did was speak what was real. The truth is like a surgeon's scalpel, placed in the hands of a master who understands anatomy and timing, it heals and saves lives. Placed in the hands of someone who swings it wildly in a crowded room, it leaves everyone bleeding. To see what happens when a brilliant mind fails to understand this fundamental law, look at a forgotten, tragic event from the life of the Athenian statesman Phocion. Phocion was a man of legendary integrity in 4th century Athens. He was a student of Plato, an incorruptible general, and a politician who refused to accept bribes from foreign kings. He lived in absolute poverty by choice and never told a lie in his entire public career. Whenever the Athenian assembly met to debate war, taxes, or alliances, other politicians flattered the citizens, promising easy victories and glorious wealth. Phocion took the opposite approach. Every single time he stepped to the podium, he attacked the assembly with brutal, mocking honesty. He told the citizens they were cowards, called their military plans foolish, insulted their pride, and predicted total disaster for their campaigns. Even when Phocion was right, and history proves he was right on almost every single strategic prediction, his delivery was so needlessly harsh, so devoid of warmth and political tact, that the citizens grew to despise the very sight of him. One afternoon, when the assembly voted in favor of a disastrous war against Macedonia, Phocion stood up and shouted, "You Athenians are like cypress trees, tall, magnificent, and producing zero fruit." The assembly fell silent with rage. Years later, when political turmoil struck Athens, the assembly turned on Phocion. They did not put him on trial for corruption or treason, because he had committed neither. They condemned him to drink hemlock simply because they could no longer bear the constant, abrasive sting of his unfiltered tongue. As Phocion was led to his execution, a citizen asked if he had any final message for his son. Phocion replied calmly, "Tell him never to take part in the politics of Athens." Phocion died as a martyr for truth, but his uncompromising, abrasive honesty prevented him from saving the city he loved. He mistook bluntness for courage, failing to realize that truth without persuasion is useless. This historical tragedy reveals the first fundamental law of human communication: people do not react to the objective facts of what you say, they react to how your words make them feel about their own identity. When you blurt out an unsolicited truth to someone, whether it is about their appearance, their career failures, their relationship choices, or their personal shortcomings, you are attacking their ego. Even if every single word you speak is factually accurate, their subconscious mind does not process you as a helper, it processes you as a threat. Their brain releases stress hormones, their heart rate rises, and their defenses go up like heavy iron gates. Instead of listening to your advice and changing their behavior, they spend all their mental energy finding flaws in your character, justifying their own mistakes, and building resentment against you. You win the intellectual argument, but you lose the relationship. You prove that you were right, but you destroy your influence. A wise human being understands that timing and delivery are not acts of dishonesty, they are acts of strategic intelligence. Look at how the Stoic philosopher Zeno of Citium taught his young students to approach the power of speech. A young man came to Zeno's school in Athens, boasting that he always spoke his mind, never held back his opinions, and considered silence to be a form of cowardice. Zeno listened patiently, looked at the young man, and pointed to his own face. Zeno said quietly, "The reason why we have 2 ears and only 1 mouth is that we may listen more and talk less." Zeno recognized that speech is an irreversible act. Once a word leaves your lips, you no longer own it, it owns you. When you rush to speak the unfiltered truth in every situation, you surrender your tactical advantage. You reveal all your cards, expose your emotional state, and invite unnecessary conflict into your life. Consider the second major hidden cost of being too honest, the dangerous trap of emotional oversharing. In modern culture, people are constantly encouraged to be completely vulnerable, to share their deepest insecurities with everyone around them, and to treat every acquaintance like a personal therapist. You tell people about your financial struggles, your family drama, your secret fears, and your past mistakes, believing that this radical transparency will build deeper bonds of trust. Look at the brutal reality of human nature. Not everyone in your life deserves access to your raw truth. When you overshare your weaknesses and vulnerabilities with unproven people, you are handing them weapons that can be used against you the moment circumstances change or interests misalign. A competitor will use your confessed insecurities to undermine your confidence. A toxic acquaintance will use your personal secrets as ammunition for gossip. A manipulator will exploit your open honesty to pull your emotional strings. The ancient Stoic master Epictetus warned his students against this exact error when he wrote, "Be mostly silent, or speak merely what is needful, and in few words." Above all, do not spend your time talking about yourself, your exploits, or your private struggles, for however pleasant it is to you to recount what you have experienced, it is not equally pleasant for others to hear. Epictetus was not telling his students to live as liars or hypocrites. He was teaching them the vital art of mental containment. A strong, disciplined mind maintains an internal filter. You do not lie, deceive, or wear a fake mask of virtue. But you recognize that truth is a sacred asset to be shared only with those who have demonstrated the character, loyalty, and maturity required to hold it with care. We have exposed the dangerous illusion of brutal honesty, Phocian's tragic downfall in the Assembly of Athens, Zeno's timeless lesson on silence, and Epictetus's warning against emotional oversharing. These master realizations prove that unfiltered honesty without wisdom is not a virtue, but a path to unnecessary suffering, lost influence, and broken relationships. We will step directly into the remaining master principles of Stoic communication, principles that reveal how to speak the truth without making enemies, the ancient secret of strategic silence, and the daily mental framework that allows you to maintain absolute integrity while protecting your peace of mind in a complex world. An old stonecutter in ancient Corinth sits outside his workshop beneath the heat of the midday sun, polishing a heavy slab of white marble. A wealthy merchant approaches him, eager to buy the finest statue in the shop, and asks, "Old man, tell me the absolute truth about your work. Is this marble truly flawless, or does it hold hidden cracks beneath the surface?" The stonecutter does not boast, nor does he launch into an unfiltered confession of every microscopic flaw within the stone. He runs his rough hand across the smooth surface, offers a quiet smile, and replies, "The stone is strong enough to bear the weight of your temple, yet soft enough to yield to time. The truth of its strength will prove itself in the storm, not in the market square." This brings us directly to the third dimension of honest communication, the dangerous trap of unsolicited advice. Look at how most human beings operate when they notice a flaw in someone else's life. You see a friend making a poor career choice. You see a family member stuck in a bad habit. You see an acquaintance making a financial mistake. Your immediate instinct is to step in with unfiltered honesty, pointing out their errors, offering unasked for solutions, and telling them exactly where they are failing. You tell yourself that you are performing an act of noble service. You believe that because your intentions are pure, they will welcome your critique with gratitude. In reality, unsolicited advice is almost always perceived as an act of moral superiority. When you offer uninvited critiques, you are not elevating the other person, you are unconsciously placing yourself on a pedestal above them, you are sending a subtle, humiliating signal that says, "I know how to run your life better than you do." Look at how the ancient Stoic teacher Musonius Rufus addressed his disciples regarding the desire to correct the faults of others. Musonius observed that young students of philosophy often became arrogant with their newly acquired wisdom. They would leave the lecture halls, enter the public markets, and aggressively lecture ordinary citizens on their lack of discipline and moral failings. Musonius called his students together and said quietly, "A physician does not march through the streets shouting diagnoses at every stranger who walks past. He waits in his clinic for the sick to seek his counsel. If you force medicine down the throat of a healthy man, he will spit it in your face and view you as an enemy. Correction must be offered only when a soul is prepared to receive it. When you withhold your unsolicited opinions and focus entirely on mastering your own character, you create an aura of quiet authority. People begin to notice your calm judgment, your discipline, and your results. Instead of you chasing them with unwanted advice, they will come to you, asking for your perspective. Consider the fourth master law of balanced communication, speaking truth with restraint rather than blunt hostility. Look at how the ancient Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius approached the dishonest courtiers, treacherous officials, and foolish citizens who surrounded his imperial court every day. Marcus Aurelius was the supreme ruler of the known world. He held total authority to execute anyone who spoke a falsehood, lied to his face, or acted with deceit. Did Marcus spend his days screaming the raw, unfiltered truth at every deceitful politician in Rome? He wrote a profound reminder to himself in his private journal, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot distinguish good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good, and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own." Marcus did not use truth as a battering ram. He recognized that people's ignorance is a product of their limited perception. When he had to correct a general, govern a rebellious province, or address a dishonest senator, he spoke with absolute clarity, firm boundaries, and total composure, devoid of emotional anger or personal cruelty. He proved that you do not need to be abrasive to be truthful. You do not need to humiliate someone to maintain your integrity. When you speak the truth, strip away your emotional frustration. State the reality clearly, calmly, and without unnecessary venom. Let your composure carry the weight of your message. Now, step into the fifth and ultimate master law of Stoic honesty. True integrity is demonstrated through your daily actions, not the volume of your words. Look at the timeless wisdom of the philosopher Seneca. Seneca observed that those who talk the most about their radical honesty are often the ones who possess the least internal peace. They use honesty as a shield to justify their lack of emotional discipline, their bitterness, and their desire to hurt others under the noble banner of authenticity. A true Stoic understands that the highest form of truth is not what you speak, it is how you live. Your honesty is proven by your reliability, your punctuality, your discipline, and your loyalty. It is proven by whether you keep your word when nobody is watching. It is proven by whether you stand by your principles when it costs you money, status, or convenience. When your life is aligned with virtue, you do not need to proclaim your honesty to the world. Your character speaks with a presence so undeniable that words become entirely secondary. Keep your counsel to yourself. Guard your tongue with the vigilance of a soldier guarding a city gate. Offer your wisdom only to those who have earned the right to hear it, and let your daily actions serve as your ultimate statement of truth. The unyielding blade of truth has been tempered with wisdom. The noise has faded. The path of true mastery is completely clear. If you are ready to master your speech, cultivate absolute composure, and step into the unshakable power of a true Stoic mind, do not speak words that you cannot recall. Master your tongue, guard your peace, and walk your path with absolute wisdom today. A seasoned diplomat in ancient Persia stands before the Grand Council Hall, holding a sealed parchment containing an intercepted message from an allied province. The entire assembly leans forward in tense anticipation, waiting for him to read every word aloud and expose the subtle disloyalty of a rival governor. The diplomat breaks the wax seal, glances over the lines of private complaints and reckless insults written by the governor, and calmly refolds the letter. He looks at the king and says, "The borders are secure, the harvest is accounted for, and our alliance remains intact." A young courtier steps forward in anger, whispering, "Why do you hide the foolish words he wrote? Is that not concealing the truth?" The diplomat looks at him with steady eyes and replies, "A small fire dies when starved of air. If you pour the oil of public exposure over every careless whisper, you will burn down your own palace just to prove you found a spark." This brings us directly to the third critical dimension of honest communication, the strategic power of silence in moments of provocation. Look at how most human beings react when they are pulled into an argument or confronted with an absurd opinion. Someone makes an inaccurate statement. Someone shares a ridiculous viewpoint at the dinner table. Someone misinterprets your actions or makes a petty, sarcastic comment in front of your peers. Your immediate instinct is to fire back with raw, corrective facts. You want to set the record straight, dismantle their faulty logic, and prove in front of everyone that you are right and they are wrong. You tell yourself that you are defending the truth. You tell yourself that silence is an admission of guilt or weakness. In reality, jumping into every debate is the clearest sign of internal fragility. When you feel compelled to correct every foolish remark you hear, you are allowing other people to dictate where you spend your mental energy. You become like a dog that barks at every carriage passing on the road. You hand over your focus, your composure, and your time to individuals who have zero desire to learn, zero interest in reason, and zero capacity to understand what you are trying to say. Look at how the Stoic philosopher Chrysippus handled fools who attempted to draw him into absurd debates in Athens. A young man notorious for his shallow thinking cornered Chrysippus in the marketplace, demanding that the philosopher defend his views on logic and truth against a list of bizarre, contradictory riddles. The crowd gathered around, waiting for Chrysippus to deliver a complex, devastating philosophical lecture. Chrysippus listened for a moment, offered a faint, pleasant nod, and turned his attention back to selecting figs from a merchant's stall. The young man grew furious and shouted, "Why do you remain silent? Do you have no answer to the truth I speak?" Chrysippus looked up calmly and replied, "If a man attempts to convince me that the sun does not shine at noon, I do not waste my breath arguing against his blindness. I simply step into the light and continue my journey." Chrysippus understood a principle that modern culture has completely forgotten: truth does not require your defensive panic to remain true. A fact does not become stronger because you shout it, and a lie does not become real because a fool believes it. When you encounter ignorance, petty gossip, or deliberate provocation, your silence is not surrender, it is the ultimate assertion of your intellectual superiority and emotional control. Consider the second master principle of this phase: protecting your inner circle from unnecessary emotional friction. In human relationships, total, unfiltered honesty is often used as a weapon to offload personal anxiety onto the people we claim to care about. You come home from a difficult day, full of frustration, doubt, and negative thoughts. You blurt out every temporary grievance, every fleeting suspicion, and every momentary annoyance to your partner or family, telling yourself that you are simply being transparent and open. Look at the damage this creates over time. Human minds are not built to absorb the unprocessed emotional noise of another person on a daily basis. When you treat your loved ones as an emotional dumping ground under the banner of honesty, you create a heavy, toxic atmosphere. You plant seeds of doubt, fear, and resentment that take months to undo, all because you lack the discipline to process your own temporary moods in solitude. A Stoic man acts as a filter, not a megaphone. He processes his temporary frustrations within the walls of his own reason. He asks himself, is this feeling permanent, or is it merely the fatigue of the day? Will speaking this thought build strength in my household, or will it only cause unnecessary anxiety? If a conversation is necessary to solve a real, practical problem, he initiates it with calm focus, clear boundaries, and zero emotional drama. But the petty, fleeting irritations of daily life are dissolved in the quiet of his own mind. He chooses peace over the cheap urge to complain. Up to this point, we have exposed the diplomat's wisdom in ancient Persia, Chrysippus's serene dismissal of foolish debates, and the vital duty of filtering emotional noise to protect your peace. When we continue into the final phase of this script, we will step directly into the ultimate Stoic protocol for truth, how to maintain absolute internal integrity, when to speak with uncompromising power, and the daily mental discipline that turns your words into an unshakable fortress.